Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And holy crap, I'm actually streaming! It's amazing! I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks almost because of all this craziness. So I'm glad to be back. And it's Star Trek Day, which means I'm joined by the One Ton Hammer
Hello.
and Irate Prostate
Greetings.
and Skep Talk.
Hey, everybody.
And today we are finishing our favorites topic with Skep Talk's Enterprise picks. And this, as Skep was just saying before we went live, this was hard for Skep because Enterprise is not
Not my
at
favorite.
all his favorite series. So this was hard for him to pick, and he did a good job, I think.
So you liked all three?
I did.
Good.
I did. The episodes that Skep picked were Detained from season 1, Carbon Creek from season 2, and he found a standalone in season 3. The Xindi arc. He managed to find a standalone episode in the midst of the Xindi arc. That was impressive.
What, similitude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hats off to you for that one. That was actually, I think, my favorite.
That was by far my favorite. In this one, I definitely had one that I really, really liked. I liked, without reservation, and the other two were pretty good. Just they would be like average TNG for me.
Yeah. So let's go chronological. So in season 1, Detained, this focuses on Archer and Mayweather have been taken prisoner by the Tardanians.
Tardanians or Tandarans. Tandarans. That's what it is. You don't get a lot of that name thrown back and forth.
No.
In the course of it, so it's kind of hard. Yeah.
They do mention the planet a couple times though. Tandar Prime.
Yeah.
Tandar Prime. Yeah.
That's it. And these Tandarians have set up detention centers for Suliban who are not enhanced. These are regular Suliban citizens.
Yeah.
Who are citizens of Tandar, actually.
Yeah.
And when the war started with the Cabal, the Tandarians rounded up all of the citizens that are Suliban and basically put them in these internment camps. And they have and just because Archer and Mayweather and their human curiosity, god damn us humans and our curiosity, they just happen to be captured and detained, hence the name of the episode. But Archer finds out, because at first he just assumes that, Suliban, Cabal, evil. But he ends up speaking with a prisoner. Danik, I believe, is his name.
Yes, Danik is the guy's name.
He basically befriends this guy, finds out that these guys are not soldiers of the Cabal. They're not genetically enhanced at all. And Archer makes a very good comparison to the Japanese American internment camps of World War II in this episode, and it turns into not only a rescue mission, not only Enterprise having to rescue Archer and Mayweather, but they also are freeing these 89 Suliban from
prisoners,
detention camp. So what made you pick this episode? Other
it
than
was,
the really good moral questions that it
well,
raises.
yeah, and that was largely it was the moral question writ large about the detainment of the unenhanced, and when groups of people decide that one group of people is inherently superior to another group of people, we call that racism. That's real racism.
Yes.
And what I just found it an interesting canvas to write what amounts to a Western, rescue the good guy out of jail drama against in space. And I just thought, man, it's got all the ingredients, and I thought they carried it off pretty well.
They did. And I liked the actor who played Commander Grat.
Commander Grat.
He did a very good job at showing that paranoia.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that was the guy from Quantum Leap.
Oh, he was another Quantum Leap guy?
He was the other guy in Quantum Leap.
Oh.
Yeah. He was the time travel dude.
I've never watched Quantum Leap.
That's why he was on the show, because the captain is from Quantum Leap. So he got his buddy from Quantum Leap.
He was like in the reunion.
It certainly does look that way. It certainly does look that way.
His name's Stockman? What the hell is his name? Dean Stockwell.
Dean Stockwell.
From Alabama.
Yeah, that's why that actor played that part. It's because they're friends from. Those are the two main characters from Quantum Leap.
Okay. You could tell that, I was wondering where he came from, because they did play very well off of each other.
He was on Battlestar too.
Okay.
He was one of the
veteran. Dean Stockwell has been in a lot of stuff.
Dude, he was in the film version of Dunwich Horror.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Just FYI to chat, because of the new brilliant way that YouTube is laid out, I can't even get to today's stream.
Wow.
Not even by searching for it. So I can't read chat right now.
I can give you the link to chat.
I was going to say I'll send you the link to the watch page. Would that help?
That would be very helpful.
There's a link. I put it in.
Okay, I was going to do it.
Side chat for SteamYard.
Okay, hold on.
Well, does she need SteamYard, or does she need the YouTube watch page?
Yeah, I need the YouTube watch page. If you can DM it to me.
I just sent you the chat, because that's all you were worried about, was just being a chat.
Yeah, no, it's easier for me on my phone, though, because I can't. Because if I have my computer talking, then it'll talk over you guys.
I have the watch page too, I think.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys could keep an eye on chat, that would be awesome, because
There's a watch page for you.
Thank you.
Got Deck Trans here, WR Costin, all you need, and Ginger Snap.
Nice.
I DM'd you in Twitter also.
Okay.
Where's he?
But yeah, I really enjoyed I just enjoyed this episode for the moral question it had, the fact that it gave the bad guy a because the Suliban were presented as the bad guys, and to give them a sympathetic a sympathetic stance, I think was a good idea.
We're coming from the same place that the captain's coming from. We don't know anything about the Suliban any more than he does at that point, because as far as we know, they're all soldiers. That is their way of life. They're like, everybody's the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we find out at the same time that he does that. No, that's just that's just a small part of their culture.
And they do mention the temporal
Prime Directive. Yeah.
Yes. Did they speak of the temporal Cold War?
Cold War, right? Temporal Cold War.
And I love how, he's asking Archer all of these questions, and Archer's just standing there. He's just not even.
Yeah.
He won't even say anything.
At that point, I was curious as to why he didn't say anything. It seemed odd for him to just, for what didn't appear to be any real reason at that point to say, "Oh, well, I'm just not going to tell you. Screw you." I mean, when he was first couple times he was asked politely, and what does he care?
Well,
he could have told him, but he just immediately goes to, "I'm not telling you. Fuck you."
Well, at first he says you'll have to take that up with my superiors because that's his. I don't think he's allowed to divulge that information. And then he gets rapid fired questions. So at that point, then I think he just was like, no, I'm not. All I'm gonna keep saying is ask my superiors. So I'm just not gonna say it. Like, I think that's what that was. I don't know. I think it was a good tension raiser at that for writing at that point.
That was another thing I liked about this episode was there was a nice even tension throughout the episode. It was really well written, I thought.
Yeah, the tension was good. It was very palpable.
Yeah.
Palpable.
And I like the tension even on Enterprise between Trip and T'Pol, because at this point there still is tension.
Right.
Between most of the humans on board and T'Pol. And
you think of where that's coming from. I mean, the Vulcans have been playing passive aggressive with the humans for 100 years, right?
Yeah. So, and I like the way that I like the way that they did, because there was humor behind it, but it was tense, like because Trip makes this joke. Trip makes this quip because she says, T'Pol says, I could ask for a Vulcan arbiter. And he goes, oh, he may as well, a Vulcan lawyer, he may as well get the electric chair.
Yeah.
And she goes, electric chair? And he goes, never mind.
Never mind. You would never understand that.
and you could tell it's humorous, but it's so, like, you can tell that there's also anger behind it. Like, it's one of those things where, I need to say something funny and make myself laugh on the inside, or I'm going to smack you. Like, it's one of those things. I liked the writing in this episode. They did a really good job. And I can't say very much for that in Enterprise, especially in the early seasons.
The first year is just a mess.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is. It's
some episodes are like, again, that my favorite episode is in the first season. So
yeah,
here and there they seem to do okay, but usually Captain Giant Head has a soliloquy that he fucks up the episode, and I just go, oh, really?
And he did pretty well this episode, actually.
He did not do a bad job. I'll give him credit where credit is due. He is capable of occasionally expressing something on his face other than, craggy pride, which is sort of what he goes through life with. But you just see, and by this time in my mind, he's not even him anymore. He's a cartoon where his head is 4 times the size of anybody else's. He's kind of bonking his nose in the bulkhead and stuff.
If you can find it in your heart, try not to hold the actor responsible for the show. I mean, they picked a bad guy as a captain. All right, that's a given. But you can't say, well, every episode sucks because he's in it.
Well, no, and I have to look around him and see, is there good writing there? Are there good other performances there? And in fairness, when he never does a great job, but when he does it, when he's for him, brilliant, which is okay for everybody else. I'll give him credit for that too.
I don't know if I can ever say that he's brilliant, but there are times where he pulls off the role adequately. But there are, especially in this episode, there are points in this episode where the other actors really do pull through. Travis, when he gets beat up and comes in, and when he's talking to the other Suliban, the anger in his voice, why can't you trust me like I trust you? Dean Stockwell, when he's going to get hit by the captain, you can see the fear in his face. That was pure awesome right there.
That was fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
And and you know what I like?
That's a good point.
You know what the difference between today's TV and even 15, 16 years ago? You know what would have happened in that scene today? I'm going to play this out for you right now. Travis would have looked at that Suliban and he would have gone, on my planet, about 300 years ago, my people were oppressed and enslaved and blah, 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 blah. I know how you feel. You shouldn't treat me this way. That's exactly how that would go.
Let's be oppressed together.
Yeah.
That is exactly how that
we overcame it by loving each other and treating each other equally and make sure everyone had an equal outcome in life.
But instead, thank Christ, we had Travis go with the obvious, you know what? You're right. I did have preconceptions about you, but I looked past them. So why the hell can't you do the same thing?
And keep in mind that the actor's just going to, say what he's told to say.
Yeah.
So this would be the writers that we're really talking about.
Yeah. But, I mean, the actor really pulled it off, like you said. It was, I didn't get the visual part of it, obviously, but
They never write him very well. They never write Travis well.
No.
They never really give him any good lines. But when he gets a chance to do something, he does a pretty good job.
Yeah. He's a good actor, actually, in my opinion.
I agree.
Back in the day when writers, used to like their viewers to be intelligent and to be able to like read into shit and make their
Back when writers actually gave credit to their viewers and figured, some of them are gonna have a brain. They'll figure it out. We don't need to draw a map.
Exactly.
So, was there anything else you wanted to mention about this episode, Skep, before we moved on to?
That's pretty much it. It's probably, of the three, is by far my least favorite. Okay. And I thought it was good, which speaks well to the other two. In Carbon Creek, which is just, a great yarn, in my opinion. I love to be told a story, and I was absolutely captivated by that whole episode.
Oh, for sure.
And then Similitude, which just for sheer imagination was, I just, A+ blue ribbon script. Yeah. Writers, take a bow.
Yeah, the only thing that I could say about the first choice is that I felt like there should have been a salutation at the end. Like they should have, the Shuttle Pod 1 should have contacted the main Suliban guy and said like, "Well, you're free. Good luck." And the Suliban says, "I want to thank you for what you've done. Our people are going to hear about this." That would have been a nice tie-up at the end to just put a bow on it, kind of deal.
And they kind of left it ambiguous.
They did, and I was like, "Wait a minute now. What about the guy? What? I didn't want the episode to be over that way. I wanted to hear more of it."
You know what my reaction was to that? Was at that point in the series, I thought they're leaving a plot hook. Yeah. That's what authors call a plot hook.
Yeah.
That they can take the plot of the series in a different direction.
I guess they just never pursued it.
Yeah, never. Most plot hooks are not pursued. I mean, if you read like even Lord of the Rings or David Eddings or George R.R. Martin, those are the plot hook champions, man.
I would put it to you guys that the episode Conspiracy from TNG was a plot hook. that was never pursued.
Yeah, could well be. Could well be.
Yeah, I just thought that, maybe in the second season, 5th episode or something like that, when they run into Silic again, Silic says, I don't care what you did for Danik. Only had to put in that much of a line.
Yeah.
And then that Danik went to Silic and told him about what happened.
Yeah.
One line would have just been like, would have been great. All I had to do was say one sentence, and it would have been
that's why you leave stuff like that is so you can have a future tie-in, and it makes things more real. It's more like real life where things connect.
Yeah.
And then you get the people who didn't really pay attention or miss that episode, and they're like, Danik, who's Danik? And they jump on YouTube or Google, and they're like, oh, that episode, I haven't watched that. And they go back and watch that episode. I mean, it's a way of getting people to watch your show.
Yep.
Great point.
We can move on.
So Carbon Creek, it's a very interesting episode.
Story.
It's a very Trek way of telling a story.
Oh my God.
There's certain episodes in every series where Star Trek tells a story about the past on Earth. Voyager had it with that 1159 episode with the Millennium Gate.
When there was the Ferengis.
Yeah.
Area 51.
The Area 50 little green men from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
There's examples from, it's so this is that one. This is Enterprise's story, and it's centered around T'Pol, Trip, and Archer in Archer's mess, celebrating T'Pol's 1-year anniversary of serving.
And quick, let me say this. This is just one of the blemishes on this episode. Captain Archer is at his clunky worst as an actor in that scene. It's just like you're rooting for the guy. Come on, man. Be real. Make us believe. Aw, damn it. No, not the craggy face again. Fuck. I just felt uncomfortable every time he spoke in that. And, I couldn't wait for it to break back to the story.
So T'Pol is, they're celebrating and they're talking about, I think it was, I can't remember how it gets brought up, but they go, we like stories, we tell you plenty of stories.
Well, she's basically, it comes up, she says, somebody says, it might be Trip says, yeah, I heard you took some shore leave. And she said, yes, I visited Earth. And then there's some back and forth, real uncomfortable dialogue about, are you going to tell us or you're not going to tell us where you went? Okay, I went to Carbon Creek. Why did you go to Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania? Well, I wanted to visit the site of first human contact. Well, you missed it by about 3,000 kilometers because that happened in Montana. No, it didn't. My great grandmother or my great grandmother, my second foremother, or whatever she calls it, was among the crew who made first contact with Earth, and then they break into the story.
Yeah, because they tell it because she wasn't going to tell them, and they go, well, we tell you plenty of stories. Tell us a story. So she goes, okay, I'll tell you a story.
But the good news about that dialogue is that they keep talking about telling a story, and it sort of lights the fire in the back of your mind that this might just be a story.
Yeah,
maybe T'Pol has a very sly sense of humor, and she's just having a bit of fun with these guys. She kind of does at the end, but for a different reason. But anyway, because
it's basically we are following this. It starts out as a 4-man survey. It's a survey mission, basically, is what it was starting out as. They weren't supposed to land at all, but they had engine failure, I guess, and were forced to make an emergency landing.
It was a nice beauty shot. though of Sputnik going by.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that looks just like what it would look like. It's a very, very impressive shot.
Yeah.
I was impressed with the forest when the ship crashes.
Mm.
That was very nice. That was nice on.
Yeah, there was a nice CGI there. You're right.
Yep.
By the way, Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania,
Yes.
does not exist. However, the baseball game in Doylestown, I've been to Doylestown. It's not a suburb of Philadelphia. It is a suburb
Carbon
of
Creek,
Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania doesn't exist. That
Does not
that
exist.
just hurts.
Oh, I know.
I want it to exist.
Yeah, that,
Bozeman, Montana exists.
that
Why
episode
can't
was-
Carbon Creek exist?
yeah, Carbon Creek was actually Crestline, California. It wasn't actually.
Oh.
There's no.
Is that where they did?
I exist in Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania, and I've been all through this state, and I know for a fact there's no Carbon Creek.
That's sad.
But there is a Doylestown. I've been there, literally. Have driven through Doylestown.
So they
Sorry, I didn't mean to break everybody's heart.
God damn it, Hammer.
So they basically these there's 3 of them left because their captain dies on impact when they land because they crash land and after 5 days it becomes apparent they need to go find some food, and instead of, as they put it, being barbaric and killing something, they decide they're gonna
Well, they see a deer, and and they say life signs. There's 2 of them, and it's 2 deer going through the forest, and one of them says, one of those could feed us for several days, and to Paul's grandmother says, nah, we're not savages.
You know what I think when I see a deer?
Die nobly of
Back straps.
Mm.
Yeah, I think of venison spaghetti, but anyway, that's just me. It's my Italian heritage.
So they decide instead that they're gonna go into the settlement and risk contact with humans rather than than kill the deer and be okay for a little bit longer. But hey, whatever. I found that, and I'm like, these really are not the Vulcans of TNG or Voyager, because even Spock or Tuvok would have been like, yeah, you know what? We're going to kill that deer because we either kill the deer or we risk exposing ourselves to this culture who should not have exposure to us. Where's my phaser?
Yeah.
It's
logical.
That's what they would do because it's logical, right? But these fucking Vulcans are like, oh,
well, and the vegetarian thing, it's like it just kind of crept into it. Well, why are they vegetarians? What the fuck?
Yeah, it was very weird. I am like these are definitely pre-Kolinar Vulcans. These are
Spock wasn't a vegetarian, was he?
Nope. And Tuvok ate whatever was served. Like, he was very much.
I guess here where they start introducing that.
Like,
I'm just trying to get a timeline here.
Like Neelix tried to serve Tuvok Vulcan dish, like plomeek soup and stuff, and he's like, "No, I want what everyone's eating. Don't cook special things on my account. Like, I want what the crew is eating."
Yeah.
So if the crew was eating meat, Tuvok was probably going to be eating meat. So yeah, that was a plot hole for me. I was like, really? You'd rather fucking... This is supposed to be, what? And this was the 50s, right? The 50s or 60s that they landed?
Yeah.
So this was 100 years before First Contact. If this
Roughly,
is...
yeah.
So they're surveying our satellites at this point. So they'd rather risk causing global panic because aliens are fucking trying to buy groceries than shoot a deer.
It definitely was. I kind of was willing to let it go because
Yeah.
I was so anxious to see what happened when they encountered people.
Yeah.
That I
those
was
people are like the most provincial,
homespun.
homespun, good-hearted. Oh,
Hey,
what
welcome
you?
to the community, stranger.
Yeah.
Want to
what's
shoot
that-
some pool?
What are you hiding under that cap? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I offend you? Like, you're not from Mars, are you? The guy's like, oh shit, and she's like, instead of going, what's the matter? She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't like, you know.
Can you imagine him being truthful? No, I'm not from Mars. I'm from Vulcan.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, Vulcan! I've never heard of that place before.
Yeah.
You'll be hearing more from us soon.
A little shout out to the old Twilight Zone episode. Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of shout outs in this, by the way. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody caught it, but when he's walking out the door to go get a phase discriminator, he says, I Love Lucy's on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Star Trek: The Original Series was produced by Desilu Productions.
Yep.
Guess what else Desilu did? I Love Lucy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of shout outs. If you listen carefully, like what they say, like the guy who is going for the phase discriminator, his name is Mistral, I think.
Yeah, Mistral.
Yeah. The guy who invented Velcro.
His name Mistral. Yeah.
His name is Mistral.
That's actually in the Memory Alpha write up on this.
Is it really?
Yeah, that Mistral invented Velcro. And they pointed that out too. So it's kind of fun, but get to the pool game.
Tamir. So to Paul's grandmother. To Paul's grandmother has basically, when they go into town for the first time, she has said, "You basically you shut up. I will speak. You do not speak if we must interact with the humans."
She's like the first officer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she's in command now.
She's in command.
Right. So the captain's dead. She's got to be the first officer, next person in line, right?
Yeah.
So they go in, and she's asking if they need if they have anything to eat that is not for currency.
Does not require currency.
Not require currency. Yes.
You mean free?
Yeah.
And she pushes some pretzels at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a visual thing only. You wouldn't see her shove the bowl of pretzels at them and walks away in kind of disgust.
Yeah.
I didn't really see the disgust. I kind of expected her to say, "Well, if you don't have any money, get the hell out of here." I mean, that's what would happen today.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen today. And
but I guess in the 50s, people were a little bit more respectful. So
yeah, well, the Great Depression was just a couple of decades earlier, 3 decades earlier.
Yeah,
people were more willing to cut a break. Than they are today. Yeah.
So they I can't remember exactly how it starts, but there's this. I think it's her son, is trying to shoot some pool with somebody, and she's like, no, you need to go and do your homework. And the Vulcan dude is like, I will play. I will play a game with you. Right?
He says, no, I'm up for a game. The term I think he says.
He says, I am up for a game. In his very Vulcan way.
And she says, "Have you lost your mind?"
Yeah. And the guy says, he goes, okay, well, what will you give me basically if I win? And he goes, well, we don't have any money. He goes, oh, well, I'm not really interested. And then he goes, oh, wait, I'll tell you what, if you win, I'll pay you. But if I win, your business partner has to have a drink with me. And the guy goes, we accept your we agree to your terms. And she goes, "No, we do not." Right?
Could you see?
I might have to socialize with him. And would you rather die of starvation?
Yep.
Could you see that happening today in like New York City in some seedy bar somewhere? Because I think the terms would be a lot different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I'll give you $1,000 or she can blow me. You know, that
Right,
would be
that's exactly what it
today's
would be.
version.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And and then the Vulcan would go, "What does he mean blow?
Yeah.
You wish me to exhale upon you."
In a manner of speaking.
Don't blow on it.
That's funny.
And then that's when we have the discussion of a small Vulcan child could play this game.
Yeah.
It's a matter of simple geometry. Right?
Yeah, it was no challenge for a Vulcan child.
And I end up DMing the group while I'm watching this because at one point he goes, "Number 8 ball in
That
pocket."
Doesn't even notice it's the corner pocket.
Yeah.
He points with the Q, doesn't he?
Yeah, he points with the Q. Exactly. Yeah. Which is acceptable.
And it was just so funny because of the very Vulcan-y way he
Yeah,
was,
the mechanical.
Yeah.
Number
Hold on,
8
that dude.
ball in that pocket.
You're from around here, are you, son?
Yeah, could you imagine that happening in Texas?
Oh man, it's some little dirt ball bar in Abilene, you know, where everybody who is ever there has known each other since grade school.
Who the hell are you?
That's it. You want to shoot some pool, stranger?
This is also to wrap this up. This is another episode where they spend a lot of time showing you the physical attributes of T'Pol. I don't know if you caught that, but there's
yes.
I don't know who directs. I guess there is a person who directs when he directs, he makes sure he gets shots of her all the time.
You actually got a nipple silhouette in the changing scene. In the clothes changing
I believe
scene.
You're wearing
and when she's in that blue silk at the end, it was cold in there as well.
Yes, it was cold and the headlights were on.
And the leather pants, she's looking for something in the ship. They make sure they get every ass shot they can.
Oh, yes.
I guess some directors just say, watch what I'm going to do.
Well,
I'm 12 years old.
Right, exactly.
In your opinion, Hammer, who's hotter? Jerry Ryan as 7 of 9 during Voyager or T'Pol?
That is a tough choice, my friend.
That is a tough.
I mean, they're almost identical body types.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Jerry Ryan simply because she's taller, and that is my main. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but that is my main requirement. Is because I'm tall. I don't really have much choice. My current girlfriend's 5'9.5". She puts on a set of heels, and she's awesome. Right? So I mean, for me, that's a requirement. I generally won't date somebody under 5'8". Which is like 90% of the women on the planet. But yeah, I'd have to go with Jerry Ryan simply because she's taller than Jolene Blaylock. But Jolene Blaylock has a much smaller waist.
Pink Hollow he was sitting with me for the first 5 minutes of Similitude. And he pointed out, he's like, "Holy shit, are they everything?" They're like, "Look at T'Pol's ass. They're showing every part of her ass. What the?"
Yep. Some directors just make it a point.
And he's like, "What is the point in this open?" He's like, "Why do we need to spend 5 minutes on these two people? Why?" I'm like, "Because Trip and T'Pol are getting closer." And he's like, "I don't even know who these people are." Because he doesn't like Enterprise. So he doesn't know the characters or anything.
Oh, there's another thing. Jolene Blaylock is enhanced. And Jerry Ryan is
all natural.
Jerry Ryan's natural,
yeah.
That's another point. Anyway.
You can tell, yeah.
We can get on the similitude. I didn't want to turn this into a sex talk.
Well, yeah, Skep, what about you? All right, just your opinion.
Between the two of them?
Yeah.
either one of them snuck into my sleep and roll, I wouldn't turn them away.
Holy moly! What
Uh,
about you, BP? You had
I
a-
would pick Jerry
okay. Well, it's almost unanimous.
because I would I would screw her, and then I would go and like ask her if we could do some singing together because she's got a gorgeous
great.
voice.
she does have a lot of music. I think the music might send me over to Jerry Ryan too. Yeah.
That whole thing with Picardo, where they
Yeah.
sing. I can't remember what it was. It's very simple.
You Are My Sunshine.
Yeah, You Are My Sunshine. They actually
That brings
performed
tears
that.
to my eyes all the time when I
They
listen
performed
to
it live at Comic-Con one day.
I've seen the tape of them performing that.
They're every bit as good live.
It is just wonderful. It absolutely is.
And you can see that there's a certain amount of affection for each other when they did it live too. It was kind of like
honest friendship. That's
it really was.
Wonderful. Yep. Couldn't agree more.
So Similitude, which is my favorite out of the three.
Also mine. By far.
By the way, Carbon Creek was voted number 2 best Star Trek Enterprise episode.
Oh, really?
Really?
I can see that.
What was number 1, just out of curiosity?
I don't know, but I'm going to push for Silent Enemy, of course.
yeah, Silent Enemy.
Obviously, that's number 1.
Okay.
So, Similitude, they are in the Expanse right now. They're right in the middle of fighting the Xindi, because season 3 is all about the Xindi.
It's all about the Xindi.
I was so glad, because when you said season 3, I was like, fuck, Xindi! And then you picked an episode that had nothing to do
with the Xindi.
And I'm like, how did you do that? That was amazing.
When I first read the write-up, which is how I picked these, basically, I was just going through looking for write-ups, and I was going through season 3, and I went, this one's different. And I went, what?
There's only 2 episodes that are not about the Xindis. I think in that whole roll, there was one about because all of them talk about the Xindi in some form, even the one where they try to remove all the information about the space that they're in. But there was a one where the guy could read minds, and he went after the communications officer. That didn't have any Xindi in it at all. And the one you picked didn't have any Xindi in it at all. But I think every other episode did.
Every other episode, there's a lot of Xindi in the 3rd season. I just know that.
Yeah.
And, I was ideally wanting to get, one from each season, or, spread it around the seasons. That was also in the back of my mind. But I saw this one and I thought, oh, that's an interesting, plot. And it's kind of just sitting out in the middle here. And I watched it, and they had me from the funeral scene at the beginning.
Yep.
I just went, this is going to be interesting, and it just didn't disappoint. It just kept getting better and better.
It didn't, and
the scenes with young Sim and the dog, oh my god, it just tore at your heart.
They had some good actors to play younger versions of Trip.
Yeah. The idea behind the episode is that in order to save Trip, who's been terribly injured by something that, some reactor core flux destabilizer or whatever the hell it was, he got hurt. And the only way to save him is to regenerate some of his neurons that were destroyed in the accident. The only way to do that is to have this Zabordian garden slug thing, grow a version of Trip who will have a lifespan of 15 days. That's the entire plot device. That's that's the entire science fiction ask that is made of the audience. And it's not really too much. No. I mean, this is about humans doing interstellar travel. This is not a big jump. So it's nice and comfortable and just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant to cram an entire life into 15 days like that and to show the struggles of the actor. And it really gave me some respect for the actor who plays Trip. I actually liked him a lot better than I normally do.
Yeah, because I like Trip. I like him a lot better now. Favorite parts of Enterprise.
And I like Enterprise a lot better now. I'm going to tell you this: the experience of going through this was a bit of growing for the old, whatever you say, boomer. For the old boomer, it really, it was cool to start to really enjoy these people and enjoy, their adventures in space the way that I do TOS and TNG and Voyager now too.
I liked the episode, but I had a problem with the beginning.
Oh, okay, what was it?
The fact that they showed Trip dead in a torpedo tube. I was like, oh, come on, he's not really dead. That was my first thought. I said, this is just a cheap hook to get me into the story. Now, the rest of the episode was awesome. So, I mean, it's not like, I was disappointed for the entire thing simply because of that. But how many people, raise your hand, how many people really thought he really was dead and he wasn't going to be on any more episodes?
I didn't think he's not really dead. I thought it was somebody's dream. Oh, I thought it might be a dream that Trip was having.
Or maybe to Paul.
Or to Paul, or something. Yeah, exactly. And I just decided, well, this is interesting. And
let's see where it goes, right?
Yeah. My
main point of this whole show is to communicate to her how he really feels.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
My belief suspender or disbelief suspender is really, it's an extraordinary machine. I really, for a good story, I will really give a writer a lot of room in terms of plot. I just want it carried off well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so go on, continue.
I really, from top to bottom, I loved this episode.
When he was a little boy, when he was, a little tiny baby and then becomes a little boy.
Phlox is a good dad.
Phlox was a good daddy.
Like, I like this whole episode, like, just to see and to see him growing up and starting to ask the really hard questions.
Yeah. Like, why am I here? Why do I have these memories?
Yeah, and when he starts saying, my parents call me Trip, but you call me Sim.
Right.
That was really and you could tell this is one of the episodes where Scott Bakula did a really good job.
He honestly did a pretty good job of acting. He really truly did.
Especially the highlight for me was between when he finds Sim in Trip's quarters.
Oh yes.
And
he appears really mad, and you don't really see it on his. It was more of the way his body moved, more than just him yelling or anything like that.
Well, and he didn't even really yell. Like he was. He wasn't yelling.
It was intense. It was intense, but it wasn't yelling.
Yeah, it was like gritting his teeth, kind of.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I loved the line. I love the exchange. You're not a murderer. Don't make me one.
Yeah.
Good writing.
And the line where he goes, even if you have to drag me to the shuttle pod, even if you have to drag me to sick bay and strap me to a biobed at gunpoint, and he goes, you'd really kill me, and Archer's like, we are in a situation. It's not just Enterprise. Earth needs Enterprise. Enterprise needs Trip. And he says that and then
not
he goes,
you.
And he goes, exactly. Yes, I will kill you.
Well, he's gonna die in a couple of days anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
But for a start, what I wanted to point out was for a Starfleet captain to be faced with a situation where he looks a sentient life form in the face and says, yes, I will kill you to save my crewman. That's huge.
That was awesome.
I love the exchange between Captain Archer and the little boy.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy wants me to be an engineer. My mama wants me to be an architect.
An architect.
He goes, what do you want to be? He goes, I want to be a starship captain. You know, and it was like, oh wow, you know, and
Yeah.
you know that Archer kind of like saw something in the Trip that he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those aspirations were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could tell because there's a point where T'Pol is telling Archer, you know, there's a reason why these symbiotes are illegal. Because basically the Vulcan High Command has said you're basically killing sentient beings or using sentient beings for raw material. You're creating life just to expend it, basically, was her argument.
Yeah.
And you could kind of tell that she was struggling between the I told you so and the actually getting attached to Sim, and then trying to distinguish between Sim and Trip. Especially when he tells her, look, I think that Trip really loves you, and like, because he's like, I can't tell if these feelings are mine or his.
Yep.
Yeah, thinking about her.
Yeah.
And the kiss was awesome. You know, I just realized that was nonverbal. You
that
do
was
realize
an awesome going away present. That's,
yeah,
I figured that's
you
what
knew that they kissed. Okay.
Yeah, I figured because he goes, that was the best going away present I could have.
Yeah,
asked.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't long enough for a blowjob, so.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just being crude. Come on.
I'm not gonna lie. I cried.
Yeah.
When he got to sickbay, and he tells Phlox, you know, you were a damn good dad or a damn good father.
That got me.
Says you're a damn good son.
That got me too.
Yeah.
I like the you owe me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were, I have to tell you, like, that's why I DM'd you and I DM'd the group, and I was like, those were some really good fucking episodes, because they were awesome picks. You knocked it out of the park there, Skep.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked them. I was actually kind of concerned. I was you know, afraid that they were too oddball or too, you know, atypical.
No, they were all really good.
Yeah, they were solid picks. None of the phasers personally for me, but they were good picks.
Yeah,
something doesn't blow up, it's not Star Trek.
You're like those movie critics from the old Saturday Night Live. It blowed up real good.
Real good.
Yeah, I had a shark and a big old fish. Yeah, seeing that fish. He blowed up at the end. Yeah, blowed up real good.
Yeah, great picks though.
Yeah.
Thanks. Glad you enjoyed it. So whither from here?
Whither from here? So
Great leader.
Now we move on to the villains of Star Trek.
Ooh, we're not going to do Picard.
Well,
yeah,
we're not going to do Picard.
Boy, that was
it's available for free right now.
a time bomb for me to say
That's
that.
true.
I'm waiting for them to pay us to watch it.
I
think that's coming.
I do want to finish watching it with you.
I think you'll be surprised by some of it.
I hope so. I stayed away from it on
mixed
purpose.
emotions about the whole thing.
I do want to finish watching it with
The
you.
last two episodes are like.
I'm surprised at the Democratic and Republican response to this. People either hate it or they love it. There's not very much in between that I've seen so far. I say Picard, and the first one, oh, it's not Star Trek, blah, blah, blah. But the people who are kind of watching are like, yeah, did you see the last episode?
No, I'm not. I don't hate it. I really don't hate it.
Well, I mean, is it is it a canon? Is it outside canon, or does it use canon?
No.
I don't even know that much about
See,
it.
the problem I have with it is that it uses canon, but it also
Only when convenient.
asks you to forget
Yes.
a lot of things that have been established.
What?
Well, for one
It's 20 years later. What does it go back and retrofit? This is what it is 20 years after what you saw in TNG is what it is. But it doesn't go back and say, oh, well, this didn't happen or that didn't happen. It just shows you Starfleet or, 20 years in the future. And things have changed.
I guess.
But they don't go back and retrofit it. It's in the same universe.
Right. And the Roddenberry attribution at the beginning of every episode does raise a little ire, because this is not, I don't think Gene Roddenberry's vision of what Earth was, the future was going to look like after TNG, right?
Yeah, but the homage at the beginning says on all of the Star Treks, all say based on.
Yeah.
Not this is exactly what Gene wanted on.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying? So Picard is further from all that.
Believers out there, right? The hardcore Roddenberry, purists, one world government thing.
You must be what's the word I'm looking for? You must accept his vision because no other vision is acceptable.
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
I'm looking through the Reddit page on inconsistencies with Picard and canon. Yes, there is one.
One? Not bad for 10 episodes.
No. I mean, one, whatever they call it, subhive of, billions and billions of.
Oh, a cube got cut off from the rest.
Yeah. And talk about, see, there are a number of canonical inconsistencies with what's just been released in Picard. Nothing that I can think of as story shattering, but a few, such as Data visiting Sela, that don't quite work. Are these going to be rejigged? There's also a suggestion that the supernova was the Romulan star rather than Hobbs. That's slightly trickier to synchronize. So that's pretty sideline stuff, really.
I watched the entire first season.
Does the Romulus sun blow up in Picard?
Yeah.
Well, not in Picard itself. It already has happened by the time Picard.
Yeah, it happens prior to the beginning of the episodes.
Yeah, it says, and the interviewer, who seems to be anti-Romulan, says Romulan sun, not Romulus sun. The sun can be referring to a sun in Romulan space.
Yes.
Which, actually that's true. I agree with that. So.
I rate how far we are 6 episodes behind, right?
Yeah, the last episode we saw together was episode 4.
Okay, yeah, I need to figure out when I can.
I have all the episodes, so
what's
if
that
anybody
available
wants
on? All right, it's time for me to start catching up.
Amazon Prime.
Can you hook a brother up?
Absolutely.
You got FTP?
Yes, I do.
Oh, my brother.
So
I'll put a copy of the show on my FTP site.
Do we want to review the season of Picard next week and then go to the villains after?
I would like to do it, but
I think we'll need group therapy.
Okay.
It's a good.
Let's do that.
It's a good show. Listen to
Let's
me.
do
I'm
that.
telling you.
I know, man. To be honest,
you have to be in the right headspace for this.
I will make sure my mind is right.
That's the only thing I require is that you don't bring the baggage of previous Star Trek episodes along with you. This is not TNG.
No,
it's not going to be TNG.
Do you remember Cool Hand Luke?
Yes.
That's this boy's mind is going to be right.
Don't eat 50 eggs before you sit down to watch. No. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a review of the first season of Picard next week, and then we'll move on to the villains after that.
That'll be good.
All right.
Yay!
So then tomorrow, Irate, who do you have?
Oh, well, all right. I had a cancellation
Aww.
at the last minute. I was able to get undoomed.
Oh, sweet.
So I told the person that I said, you're a lucky charm or some shit. And then later I nailed the rawest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all know who she is, but she's like a Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Picard, kind of.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah, she's got a great personality. Busty redhead, dude.
Nice.
You should check her out. Rawest. She got 168K, I want to say.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm sub to her.
Me too.
Who?
The Rarist.
RARIST.
RAWRIST.
Roar, like roar.
Okay.
Because that's dinosaur for I love you.
That's awesome.
I swear to God, that's what she says, man. She's crazy. She's in a good way.
And then tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, Pincalo and I will attempt to throw together a stream for you guys and talk about all sorts of fun stuff. I miss streaming. I haven't been able to do it, so yeah.
We've been missing you not being streaming.
Yeah.
I tell you.
My Wednesdays are just not the same.
I know.
My dogs are all like, normally we get treats, so we'll be quiet during the stream. Why are we not getting treats? Well, there's no stream today. And they're all like, Blind Press is having a tough time and we should suffer.
Yeah.
They're always doing shout outs. They're always doing shout outs to Fiddler on the Roof.
Well, guys, I really thank you all for watching, and I thank my friends here for coming out again and talking Trek with us. And we will be back next Saturday for the review of Picard. And I hope everyone will come and watch. Thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of your Saturday.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye, y'all. Catch us tomorrow.